to everybody. I feel called to share some vulnerability today. It's never easy doing that. I feel part of my purpose is to normalize everything that we're feeling, but we tend to suppress, whether it's due to cultural conditioning or trauma, or just because somebody told us that our feelings don't matter. I think it's really important to sit with ourselves, process it, really introspect, which is what I've been doing. And I wanted to share some of my journey with you. And I appreciate everybody who's been following my YouTube channel, all in this together. One of the realizations that I've had is the need to choose myself. I choose myself. And it's not coming from the ego. So for so much of my life, I thought belonging meant being chosen. Once felt like I was standing in line, whether it was in elementary school gym class where I'm like, somebody choose me. And I was always the last to be chosen. It's like I was secretly hoping somebody would just turn around and say, you're not, you're the one I pick. Shaped so many moments where I bent myself into shapes I didn't recognize, moments where I abandoned pieces of myself just to make space for somebody else's love. I realized that it's not authentic, because if somebody doesn't know the real us, it's not possible to really see who we truly are. It comes from within. To, of course, know thyself is the first step, and then it is yourself, accepting yourself with all of the flaws, with all the mistakes, and in shame. It's really loving ourselves the way that we would if we were our own child. I have a toddler, and he's been so instrumental in my healing journey. Looking to him is like looking to a piece of myself that I long forgotten, that I suppressed, which is my inner child. So that wanting to be chosen, that longing, it shaped so many moments in my life. It's like a desperate whisper. If they pick me, maybe then I matter. But the problem to be chosen is that it gives away all of your power. We're essentially outsourcing our power and putting it into somebody else's hands. Somebody who probably doesn't even want that power. When every time I gave that away, I molded myself to fit into someone else's role. Is how important it is to take accountability and responsibility for the choices that we make. And we choose certain situations, people, based on the consciousness that we have at the time. We seem like we are kind-hearted, just selfless by molding oneself into who somebody else wants. It's actually manipulation, and it's unknowing manipulation. It's not to say that we should blame ourselves for unknowingly manipulating others to choose us. It's when we do, it's imperative that we make different choices from a healed place, from a regulated place. And I am consciously seeing how easy it is to give our power away, because it's actually difficult to sit there with ourselves and do the work, so to speak. And it's easier just to be like, okay, this person is going to define me, or this person is going to show me that I am worth it. And nobody asked for that responsibility. For a long time, I felt like belonging meant attaching myself to a person, title, a role, basically something external that I would justify, that would justify that I had a place in this world. And as some of those attachments fell away, in terms of marriages ending, friendships dissolving, I felt like I disappeared too, until I was really sitting with myself many times and questioning, who is this I? I did not disappear, because the person who I gave my power to doesn't know who I am. And who I am is separate than the titles and the attachments and the illusions that the 3D world creates. And to disappear. That little girl within me didn't think that she deserved to be seen by herself. So she looked outwards to get validation, to receive answers, and outsourced all of that to others. But here's the truth. I'm starting to understand seeking from others can only ever be created within myself. The choosing that I longed for can only be replaced by choosing myself. And choosing yourself doesn't mean locking others out or building walls around your heart or rejecting others. It's just becoming that safe haven, becoming that source of belonging for yourself. Knowing that you matter simply because you are, because you exist, because of your inherent essence. Sadhguru often reminds us that we're born complete, whole, and we were essentially unbroken. We came into this world with a deep knowing that life itself is enough, but somehow within life, whether it's cultural conditioning, societal conditioning, traumatic experiences, forget that we don't have to prove ourselves to deserve love or belong. We forget that life doesn't owe us anything, and yet it gives us everything. And I think in remembering this, we can walk through the world with grace into ourselves first. Choosing myself and choosing yourself means to look in the mirror, see every scar, every mistake, perceived flaws, accept you, I forgive you, coming home to ourselves. Often we present the masks to other people, and then there's just so much dissonance that exists. And how can one truly accept and love us if we don't love ourselves? And most importantly, if we don't know ourselves. And by knowing ourselves, it's not suppressing the ugly parts. It's by actually shedding light to it, making those parts feel seen and accepted. Even when you're tired, scared, or ashamed, picking yourself. When the inner child arrives, looking for a hand to hold, looking for that adult on the playground, or the adult that can make them feel safe, which we can do for ourselves. The wounded younger versions of ourselves who felt overlooked, seen, or abandoned. And in choosing ourselves, we're also choosing them. We give that permission to come forth and be embraced. We whisper to that child, you don't need to twist yourself into knots to be loved. You don't need to run yourself ragged to be valued. You were always enough. You still are. And that shift is profound. It doesn't happen overnight. It's a process, and it's a lifelong process that we can create and cultivate within ourselves. It means saying no to relationships, friendships, any situation that make us feel like an afterthought or that make us feel we're not truly being seen. And when we say no to the spaces that make us prove ourselves, we are saying yes to ourselves and saying a holy and sacred yes to our inner children, to the person we are when no one's looking. And we are somebody else when nobody is looking. Can you really sit with yourself and accept that part of yourself? Even the less than perfect parts, even the parts that on yourself, can you sit with that part of yourself healing? And from that, we can create spaces that vibrate worthiness and mutual respect. We don't have to have a table person to invite us as we are, mistakes, flaws, and all. So today, if you can, close your eyes, put a hand on your heart, feel that warmth of that younger version of yourself, that little one, resting within you, and whisper, I choose you. Today, tomorrow, I choose you. You are enough. You have always been enough. Watch how your world shifts from the inside out. And with this understanding comes responsibility. The hardest part of this journey is looking in the mirror and in ourselves. For me, it was where I've handed over my worth to somebody else, where I've looked for belonging in a place that was never meant. It's tempting to stay in the role of the wounded one, of the victims, blaming those who can't show up for us in the ways that we deserve. The truth is, it has nothing to do with us. Everybody's on their own journey, and nobody knows what they're doing. We're just figuring it out. But the deeper truth is, every time I gave away my voice, I molded myself into someone else. I was rejecting myself. And it's not to feel ashamed if we do that. It's just about accountability. It's about seeing ourselves clearly and say, I was a part of this pattern. I am the co-creator of every situation in my life. I outsourced my power, hoping that somebody else would carry it for me. And now I can choose to give that to myself and make a different choice. Responsibility and taking responsibility doesn't diminish our worth. It doesn't erase the pain. It gives us back the keys to our own hearts. It allows us to stand tall and say, this is my belonging. This is my power. And I'm choosing to show up for myself. And in choosing to show up for ourselves, we can fully show up for others too. I'm hoping that this resonates and helps whoever it needs to help. Thank you for listening.